Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all today on Channel 52. Today we are meeting again on Mindful Talk with Amber, and it's the women that inspire me. Tonight I have a very special guest, and actually, after reading her bio, I don't even know how I can finish everything in half an hour. It's an amazing, very, very impressive bio. Thank you, Dr. Melissa Baralt, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Amazing person with amazing energy. I'm just gonna say, very small intro, and then we're gonna dig in. Dr. Melissa Baralt is a Ph.D. president. C Caucus Be Better Than Me LLC, Master Facility Math and Science, Berkeley College of Liberty and Art, professor at Montclair State University, and I'm doing fellowship from Montclair, so I have a special, favoritism towards Montclair. So. And many, many more, and we're gonna dig in. It's such an impressive bio, and especially being a woman of a color, and there's so many more other things that we're gonna discover today. And from your busy schedule, joining me tonight, I'm really very humbled. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Anything for you. And I just appreciate, I have a lot of love for the Bengali community. I appreciate all of you guys. I think it's so wonderful that we have so many similarities, between the Bengali community and the Hispanic community. And we're all just united in family and love and being together and celebrating the education of all of our children. And I think that's amazing. That unites us. That transcends universal limits.
Awesome. You're right. You're absolutely right. And as you said that, Patterson is a melting pot. We have so many other ethnicities. We have Bengalis, we have Pakistanis, Indians, even among South Asians. And there's some Nepalis and Middle Eastern, and humans are very similar. And specifically, let's go back on womanhood. So again, let's talk. You are a commissioner and you're on board of what? 10 or 20 boards?
775. I mean, it's just, I've been blessed. I've been lucky. My parents, they emigrated from the Dominican Republic in the Caribbean. Have you been, Amber?
No, but that's one of my to-do lists.
Amazing. So, they are Dominican. I was born in the United States. I'm originally from New York City. I was born and raised in New York City, and then we moved to Patterson at 13, when I was 13. And this is where my life began, in Patterson. And I did all my higher education studies in Patterson, and I've been in Patterson ever since. I'm proud of the city, that raised me. This is the city that raised me. And I try to do my best to just extend an arm to the community and really work for all people. Doesn't matter what you are. We all have common interests, and that's education, better health systems, and things that we want to see our children do better, be better. And that's what I work so hard for. I have 2 boys, one of whom it's his birthday today.
Oh, birthday. How old?
8, my oldest. And I just, I want them to see, their mom doing things and their mom doing things correctly. And I just really appreciate that, I'm able to do all these things from home now. And COVID didn't affect us as much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let me ask, because I had to start from here. You said that you were only 13 when you migrated. A huge transition.
From New York to Patterson. Yes.
Okay. So then that's not that huge.
Yeah. Well, it was huge because I came from the inner city, right? So I came from buildings, apartments, subsidized living. I came from a very complex and kind of
it's like Jenny from the block is moving to Patterson.
Correct. Crowded, very crowded. And then we moved to Patterson, and I live on the Lakeview section of Patterson. And so we bought a house here, and we had a backyard and a swimming pool, and it was like the biggest thing ever. And I remember some of my friends visiting from New York and being like, wow, she lives in the suburbs. And now it's not so much, right? We're not the suburbs anymore, right? It's close to New York. Everything is livable, close. Everything is around us. So
did you miss the city?
I did at first. I had to literally record sounds of cars and horns because I got used to the sound of the car. And then after that, now if I go to the city, I can't even sleep because of the noise. So, you get adapted to
Yes,
everything.
you do get adopted. And I know because you have your master's degree in microbiological science, correct? And I know kids who stays in NICU for months, when they come home, because they're used to the sound. That's what it's been told that they need to have some kind of sound so they can adjust to it.
Absolutely, yes. So it's just been incredible here. I have had to get used to life here. And everything's happened so fast for me. So I graduated, I felt like that was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just incredible to see, my parents kind of put me through that, like say, listen, you're going to get it done
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to keep going. And it doesn't matter that you're a woman. It doesn't matter that you are Latino. It doesn't matter that you're bilingual. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to get it done. There's no other way.
Yeah.
And I just kept going and going. And I really honestly didn't think that it was going to have such a big impact until I finished, and I finished my doctoral studies.
Mm-hmm.
I did my master's first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did my doctoral studies and finished in 2009
Okay.
with a PhD in molecular pathology and immunology.
Yeah.
So I was literally in a lab, like pipetting cells and learning about different assays and different viruses, different diseases, different pathology.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked on a disease in particular that affects children called Fanconi anemia.
Mm-hmm.
And in that disease, we find a discrepancy in the way that cells look at damage. So because they can't recognize damage, they accumulate cancer and they accumulate tumors and they accumulate all kinds of malignancies.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my PhD study was in. After that, I end up in Georgetown and I did a pre-doctoral work there in Georgetown, postdoctoral work, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And it was great. But I wasn't really touching the children. I wanted to be the light for the kids that before me, like me, had no one to look up to that looked like them. And so I decided to come back to New Jersey and I came back to Patterson and I was hired by, a local school, which is Berkeley College
Mm-hmm.
and Montclair State University, which I am a proud alum too. So I do have favoritism to certain Montclair things. And there I serve as at Berkeley, I got hired as a master educator in the sciences. So I do all of the sciences. So not only do I teach, I also develop curriculum for students and I map out career plans and I map out life goals. And I really help students become the best version of themselves from the entry to capstone, right? So we have a 3-4 year progression
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we do. That's what we keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been fortunate enough to just really, really, really meet great people, awesome people that have been able to be part of my journey. I love you too, to Dr. Lisa Chow watching and Liz Rodriguez. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so
Thank
many
you.
people are watching. I didn't want to interrupt you. We have a huge audience, and it's international audience. People from
Oh,
Bangladesh. Uh, Dr. Lisa Chow. That's another of my favorites.
yes,
She's doing an
yes.
amazing work.
So to all the people watching, I'm at Donovan. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So there is one thing that I noticed, Dr. Melissa, that people usually like. I have studied psychology, and I want to stick to it because that's the field that I've been in from the beginning. And I'm gonna be honest, would not challenge myself to jump out of my comfort zone. But when I was reading your bio, I saw that you were, your bachelor's was in something else, then you did your master's in math and sciences, and then your PhD. So you really challenge yourself, and that is such an amazing quality to me as a person to see. And tell me about your challenges and what was that one drive that made you feel like that?
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is to never be one track minded into one thing and never put yourself in a box. You define the box you put yourself in. And so I always grab opportunities by the hand and I run for it because I know that there's a God that I serve and that God protects me and he guides the way. Right. And I have parents that pray for me and a husband that, cares for me and helps me so much with the rendering of our kids. We have 2 young boys. And that's been the hardest thing for me. So a challenge for me is honestly, I like to do everything. And a challenge for me is to just slow down because I'm always working. I'm always doing things. And it's a challenge. And we have to get used to that. And this is part of personal care and self-care. We really have to get used to, getting into the business of taking care of ourselves and taking care of our womanhood and taking care of our personhood. It's okay to take a day off. It's okay to sit and do nothing. It's okay one day. You're not gonna die if you miss one day. And that for me has presented as a challenge. A lot of other challenges, and I'll say this personally, because I look the way I do, right? I look like a typical Hispanic woman. Sometimes I do enter rooms, and I will say this, sometimes I do enter rooms where, I get second guessed. And you're a doctor? What do you
Yeah.
mean? Like, what kind of doctor? You went to med school, but you look young, but you don't really, and you speak Spanish? And I get that a lot. And I think it's time we start to break down these stereotypes. And how do we break them down? By breaking down these generational curses and these archaic ways of thinking that things have to be the certain way they have to be. If I can challenge anyone on this call and anyone watching back at home, always think outside the box and think that, if something interests you and you don't, you try it and it hits, you do good. If you try it and you don't like it, you do something else. I mean, it's really a way of learning. So I try to be very versatile. So like you said, I started with biology, then I went into molecular path, and then molecular biology, and then I went into pathology. It kind of stayed in the sciences, but it was kind of different. It was kind of different in its transmission. And then after that, I get into teaching, right? So I go right into teaching, and I realize that, wow, I'm touching lives. I'm really touching young people. I'm inspiring young people hello, Muhammad. I'm inspiring young people to really, really think outside of the box and really think for themselves and make and create a life. And that's how we change the community with education, with energy, right? Yes. With the challenge of knowing that you may not have all the answers, right? And that's okay. But if you don't know what you want, that's a start. I call that a start, right? Because that helps you shape your way and shape into so many other things. And it wasn't until 2018 that I started my public life. So in 2018, I had a former commissioner who suggested that I run for office. And I don't know if you know Commissioner Joel Ramirez, who said, I think you should run for office. I think you really do good in office.
Have that energy.
And I said, I don't know. And he's like, just do, I think you'd be great. And I didn't really see it like that. And we ran, a campaign, which is where I met the Bengali community for the first time in Patterson. And I became entrenched with a lot of the Bengali folks in Patterson. And I got to meet, Mosleuddin. He was on my ticket. And, Tajuddin. And I got to work with Shaheen Khalik and his family. And it was just beautiful. It was great. I loved the way, the family kind of came together. And I said, wow, it's so similar to the Hispanic families. I was like, wow, it's really amazing. And I really enjoyed doing that work. And then I lost my election, but I didn't lose the people. And that's what I appreciate the most.
Absolutely. And it's such a positive, personality and approach to it. I just want to take a couple of comments here. People are saying, watching from Bangladesh, Mohammed, he said, nice to see you. Mr. Salaudin saying, good evening and congratulations, Commissioner, for bringing such a beautiful, talented doctor.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, there's another comment. Thank you, Amber, for bringing then very impressive personalities.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely amazing and motivated for other women and their empowerment. Yes.
Thank you so much. Donovan, thank you. Thank you.
After saying that, let's take to another side of women. I noticed that, you are on, you have an LLC and you make the best of others, specifically you towards women. Let's talk about it. How do you help, and if there is a specific program, because I know I was in one of the meetings when you were there, and that was like 3 years ago, somewhere, which I'm and I was like, and I said to the person who invited us, I said, you better have her on the board. So let's talk about that.
Sure. So I started noticing trends, and I started noticing trends in the way that, and for everybody watching that's a parent or anybody that works with young people, it seems like young people especially do what they do because they think that's the next step. They don't really think or plan, or have succession planning with how they should achieve their goals and how they should get their goals into working plans that are achievable and actionable steps. So I started to see a problem between a lot of the bio students who are graduating
Mhm.
and their next step into graduate school, medical school, dental school. And I said, Eureka. And I had a moment, right? So this was after years of training thousands of students and helping them get their packages together for professional schoolings.
Mhm.
And I helped them do, whether it's their resumes, whether it's their cover letters, whether it's I'm going to med school and I need to study for an MCAT. Well, here's your plan. Here's a detailed plan of how you need to get there. Here's a detailed plan. And so it was like I became a career coach by mistake, right? Just giving people advice and teaching people about different programming that fit into their lifestyle. So I always tell people when I work with them, I always tell people, what's your lifestyle? What do
Mhm.
you think is a functional lifestyle for you? Because what might work for me might not work for you, and what might work for you might not work for me. And that's my starting point, right? And always with the mindset of having an open mind and really guiding people through their weaknesses. And I don't like to call them weaknesses, right? Rather, I call them, transitional steps in your life, right?
Mhm.
That you can work on. So with my LLC, I realized that a lot of people, I want to be like you. I want to do what you do. And I said, no, 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 that's too much pressure on me. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me. And that's what I named my company. So be better than me. So
Oh,
I do, academic planning. I do professional planning for people that are professionals and want to get their credentials, up so that they can get promoted. I also build curriculum, so different programmings. I'm part of a board called Prospanica. I actually created a pre-college career curriculum, and we're gonna kick that off in May, and just teaching people how to get the results that they want. Right, when you want to lose weight fast, you go to a trainer. It should be the same thing with academics and professionalism, right? And we need to not confuse the two, because
yeah.
a lot of times there's a lot of friends that say I could do your resume, but they really don't know the keywords. They really don't know what's trending. They really don't know, where the job market will be. There's no in-depth research analysis of how to do things better,
Absolutely.
right? And I really think that we need to take the time to really sit there and wonder and say, you know what? How can I make myself better? Let's not sit in the same job for 25 years and then wait for them to fire us to realize I got to get a job, right? We need to work on you. You need to work on you. If your problem is public speaking, Toastmasters. If your problem is, making yourself look better on paper. There's people, I just told you about me. There's a lot of people I know that do things, I can help you. There's resources. And Amber, you, Commissioner, you become a resource yourself
Mhm.
because you're an outlet, a media outlet.
Mhm.
And let's not confuse all media outlets, right? Because
Right.
not everybody's out here informing and promoting positivity, right? There's
Absolutely.
people that are not doing that.
Yeah.
And we all know how we feel when we look at these negative people, these negative bystanders that just tell us negative stuff. You're not trying to hear it. You know what's the best way, the best antidote? Turn off your phone, turn off your camera, get into positivity. It's not that negative things won't happen to you. It's just that you need to know how to make a U-turn and quickly turn around. Because if it's going to defray where you're going, then you do not need to go there.
You actually already answered my next question, was that how do you have that much energy? And you're absolutely right, because people do become very jealous and insecure, and there will be a lot of media brings negativity also, and it's hard to deal with it.
It's hard to deal with it, but I there was a book that helped shape me. I mean, besides obviously the religious books, the Bible, and that book, and I would like to recommend it. I have it in front of me actually. I can show you guys. And it's this book right here. This book changed life for me and so many students that I recommended to. It's called The Four Elements,
Okay.
The Four Agreements. I'm sorry, The Four Agreements. And this book is amazing. And one of the things that he talks about in the four agreements, so this man was in a car accident and he almost lost his life, and he had a close encounter with God and a religious, experience. And he comes up with these four agreements, how to live a life, fear free of negative energy and free of negative, things that deter you from living your best moments. And one of the things that he says in that book is that when people do things to us, we have to learn to have the restraint to learn that that's not about us. That's about that person's trauma, that person's, insecurity. And we need to learn to not take things personal and just keep moving, keep reaching your goals and really keep moving. I mean, if you have faith in things that, you cannot see, how about faith in things that will be and that you may not be able to look at and palpitate, feel, but you know that they're coming for you. And having the mindset that anything that steps in the way of that, you need to remove yourself from. And guess what? Sometimes it's, changing your circle, changing your friends, changing, being around other people that have the same kind of mindset and goals as you. Because it's really difficult to navigate if you're not around a positive environment.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have a couple of questions, but I'm going to take a question from, we have such an engaging audience. One of the questions Mr. Salahuddin is asking, Dr. Melissa, please put some light on your current responsibilities and how you can engage more women in participating and contributing.
Sure. So when I ran, I started a nonprofit for women, and we had a nice little group where we did community work, right? So I got involved with people that were doing things in the community. So I hit the boots, I got my boots on the ground, and I keep my ear to the floor, and I know what's going on. And I know that, for example, Dr. Lisa Cho, she's doing the Patterson Collective, and that's huge right now. So whenever she needs my help, I'm there. I'm like, what do you need? And I help her, even if it's a phone call or connecting her to somebody, that's help, right? I know that there's a person that, that I have a connect with in Prospect Park who does special things for the women that are in jail in the halfway house in Fenwick, the Fenwick house in Patterson. And, we do things all the time. I do food deliveries for the women, and I even go and speak to the women. I do, whether it's toy drives, whether it's, some people that are doing a toy drive, I've worked with a lot of different diverse communities, and I just know when they're doing stuff, I get involved. I don't ask, oh, they didn't call me or they didn't tell me to come. I show up. There's people that are doing, for example, Shaniqua Lemon, people like that. She's out here cleaning the wards. Tiffany Jacobs, they're out here doing the work, and I just see it on or I see it on Facebook, or I'll get a message, or people like Zelly Thomas, who's an activist, and he's doing things in the community as well. And I get involved and I go and I help out as best I can. If I know that there's an event or there's a family, something happens, a catastrophe, you know what? I'm going to get involved. I'm not going to wait for the person to tell me, Melissa, come get involved. And I think that's a lot. That's ego, right? And I think that's a lot of people. We wait for people to expect us to get involved, and we don't just get our feet wet and get to it. We don't do that. And we have to get into the habit of learning that we belong in this universe and that there's a God bigger than any of us. And we're not bigger than the God, right? So how do you get involved? You eat that up, right? That pride or whatever's, holding you back, right? And we learn to be humble and really look at, hey, maybe I can't do that for you, but I know someone who can, even being that connector point.
Absolutely. Such a beautiful answer, actually, because if the ego is hurting but you still know who can do it better, connection. So that is such a good idea and, suggestion. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's okay.
Corinne is my girl. She's saying she called me sister. So thank you joining, Corinne, for watching. We have Valeria Allo, and she's saying, Dr. Melissa, please share your thoughts on how Latino community can do a better work in supporting each other versus competing with each other. I think you just answered that about the ego.
She is a sister of mine. She's a wonderful person. Valeria Lo is a star. She's with me on the board of Lupe, which is Latinas United for Political Empowerment. We're on that board together, and she is into a lot of the things that I'm into, and she's a powerful woman. I'm amazed that she's watching, and I really want to thank her. But I think a lot of times we suffer from the crabs in a barrel syndrome, right? It's like you can't get out the barrel, you're a crab because the other crabs are pulling the top crab down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I can't have it, you can't either.
Yep.
And you know how we break that? You know how we break that? You become the crab that helps push the other crabs out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to think that I like to form bridges and I like to help people because I can only go so far. But when I help students, it's like seeds, right? I plant seeds in students, and some of the seeds will never make it to a plant, but some of them make a beautiful tree. And a tree will give you shade, a tree will give you shelter, and a tree will give you everything you need. So that's me living as a tree in that student. I just flourished a seed that became a beautiful, tree and gave something positive back to life, back to earth, back to someone's family. And that's how I look at it. I look at it as don't let the ugly in other people change the beauty in you, right? That
Thank
God made you beautiful, you're perfect. And if I don't have, right, the proper tools or the proper education on how to spend that money and invest it wisely, then $1 million is worth nothing and it's obsolete. And I believe talent is like that, right? So if God gave you a talent, you have a natural talent, natural abilities, or there's something that you want to work on. You go ahead, you jump in feet first, and you see what happens. If you're not sure, call people like me. You see me in the community. I'm very active on my Facebook. Everybody knows they can reach me if needed. I've told you the same thing. I'm very accessible. I believe in having an open door policy, and I work with everyone, not just the Hispanic community. I work with everyone, and because I think we are all people of God, all of us.
Yes, but there are very few people like you. So we have to take best advantage of it. The time is flying. We are already on 26th hour. Let me ask you a certain question, which I really don't want to miss in this interview. I know you're a commissioner on Alcohol Beverages Control Committee, which I myself, didn't know about it. Can you please talk a bit about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely, Commissioner Amber. So, originally, I was appointed by Mayor Andre Saya as a commissioner on the ABC board, which is the board that controls alcohol, all the licenses, and we actually regulate what the people that hold liquor licenses do in the city. And we don't do it with city ordinances. Rather, we get our directives straight from the state. So, I've been in that commission since 2018, and it's been really good, and working with alongside two other commissioners, a lawyer for the city. We have litigators and we have people that argue in favor, or we get down to the nitty gritty, and I can assure all Patterson residents, we're really working hard to abide by the law and give everyone equal treatment. So it's been really, challenging. I'm the only woman commissioner on the board, and it was really, to my surprise, that they decided to select me as the chair of that board. And I've been working really hard. When the COVID happened, how to get people information they needed for regulations, how to get, people, what are the curfews? What is needed? What time are we going back to the regular systeming? And that's like things that are really difficult to stay on top of. But I want to thank all of the business owners in the city and a lot of the council members who actually have vouched for me and helped me do the work that I have to do. I really appreciate working alongside, the council when we need to get these business owners the right information. So there is a board that does that, and I'm gladly here to serve. If any of you ever have a question, reach out. I will be happy to serve and ask any question or answer any question related to our board and the regulatory steps.
It's a tough board to be
It's
on.
very tough, very tough.
Okay.
But gotta
Yeah,
do it.
and doing a great job being a woman, especially being a woman of color. You are currently serving as a chairwoman on the board, and you're also on the board of Head Start. Um,
Yes. So I haven't even promoted that one. I haven't said anything, but I also got asked to be on the board of the Passaic Head Start. So the Head Start program, which is a national program, is for children, who are in preschool. And what we do is we try to help children of lower income families and people that are in lower socioeconomic statuses. We try to get them into preschool, and we give them services like resources for their incomes, their housing, and we actually provide them with food. So we're doing things for families and changing their lives, because if these outcomes are better for work and for educational purposes. So that's a very important board, and I hold that dear to my heart.
Yeah.
I'm also on the Any Mentor board, which is
Okay.
America. America needs you. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And for anybody that wants to get involved, that's a great mentoring program. And they're looking for mentors all the time. ANY. If there's any students watching and you're a student in college and you want to get mentorship to help you every step of the way, is a beautiful program. It's designed to mentor first generation kids all the way to grad school and get you into your internships and things. So I'm involved with that. And Elevink, which is another mentoring program. Get involved. If you're sitting at home and you're looking at me, I barely sleep. But that's okay, because I'm helping people and I'm planting all these seeds. And I know that there'll be a forest of people who
Absolutely.
will flourish.
And with COVID, this is such an amazing time to get involved even more, and it's more easier. I actually, think that was the positive part of COVID. Us behind the screens, we can get involved in many different things in this way. Another question on the screen is, how do we get different ethnic communities to unite? As you can see, the hate crime rise in Asian Americans community. If Black Lives Matter and others minority community do unite, we have great voice in society. So that's a comment.
That's a great comment. And how do we get them to unite? Honestly, there has to come a time where we put politics aside and we put the race, as the top priority. That we're gonna put purpose, right, before us, and we're gonna allow purpose to lead the way. That we're all united under a common goal of love, empowerment, and the betterment of all society.
Yes, we are actually over our time, but I'm gonna take 5 more minutes, and
Oh, that's fine.
I do want to talk about the bridge program. I know you were part of a bridge program, and there's no one better than talking about the bridge program. There's so many other amazing things. Just in brief, if you can, talk to us about that. And I know being an alumni on Berkeley College, that was also part of bridge program, or you?
No, so I was an alumni in Montclair. So I did my bachelor's in biology, and then I was part of the Bridges program. And that program is a NIH funded program, NIH meaning the National Institute of Health. And they're trying to increase the number of minorities that are involved in the sciences and engineering in the STEAM. And so with that program, what it did for me was it provided me a bridge from a master's degree all the way to a doctoral degree. And they paid for everything. It was absolutely free. And I got a salary to be in school and do that. So when I was done, I had no loans. It was amazing. And I finished and I look, and it's sort of like you're running a race, right? When you start college and you look to the right and you look to the left and you're like, woo, when you start, everybody's excited. And then the years go by and you're running the race and there's less and less people next to you. And there's people behind you and in front of you. But people start dropping off. And this program goes as a cohort. So you kind of hold each other accountable. Accountability is the key factor in everything we do. And so that cohort, although a lot of them didn't finish, a lot of us did finish. And it was really remarkable to see us get that. So with my degree, there's actually less than 1% of the United States of America population is a Latina with that degree. And I really hold that to a high standard. I didn't really think it was a big deal. I thought school was something that I had to do. And it wasn't until I met certain friends that were like, this is a big deal. And I'm like, wow, okay. And so I want to help other women and men, because, we do what we do as women. But we also have to have men that understand who we are and support us and respect us, right? And lead us.
Absolutely. And if we are not getting that support, we still need to make those decisions. It gets difficult, but you have to do what you have to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just keep motivating. it's really amazing to me that we've lost common sense and people just don't know how to be nice to each other. Like, really be nice to each other, really be happy for people, really put like on someone's comment. It costs you $0 to do that, to support someone from behind. And I pride myself in being that person. I like to support all women, and I like to support people that I know are doing positive things and that I know are using their brains to get to where they need to go, intelligence and their God-given talent, right? And they're not victims of their circumstance, that they rise above that and they
Absolutely.
look for better life, right? And they look for better opportunities.
Absolutely. And last question. I know you're on the board of health as well. As we going through COVID, any last messages you want to give? I know we have two vaccinations. People, there was some insecurity about questions on vaccination. I think we can have another episode for that. But I want
Oh,
to
I
hear.
would love to come here. I did it for the Spanish community. I got on and I told them about vaccinations and all this stuff. So I'm not on the board of health. I'm on the healthcare board, which what
Okay.
that board does is with the One Career Stop Center. And what we do there is we try to get people that are healthcare personnel into jobs by preparing them and doing job training for the future, for their
Okay.
future prospects. Now, how that relates to COVID is COVID has increased the need for medical personnel and essential
Mhm.
personnel. So we've had to be at the top of our priority to learn how to, get the vaccination out there and how to, really get everybody informed and well educated on this vaccine. So let me explain to everyone at home that might have a question on the vaccine. Normally, vaccines have, they can either have dead viruses that they put back in you and you grow antibodies to the dead virus. They can be put in a mixture of certain immunological components that will allow you to build immunity to a mixture of things. And so your body recognizes virus. What this vaccine does is, it's really remarkable, actually, what they did. They're giving you information. They're not giving you the virus. They're giving you information so that your cells can auto replicate antibodies against the viral proteins that form the coronavirus. And the viral proteins are all the little things on the outside that make it look like a crown, hence the name coronavirus.
Mhm.
So that's what they're doing. Now I get the question, is it safe? So far, so good. Efficacy, we're doing better. Studies show that 94% of people that have 2 doses of the vaccine,
Mhm.
whether it's Moderna or Pfizer, if you have
Mhm.
2 doses of the vaccine, it reduces your chances of dying from the COVID at least highly. And we have a 94% success rate so far. That's not to say that someone gets vaccinated and they don't have a reaction, but it's highly unlikely. So I recommend to everybody, get it. Take a deep breath and have faith that all will be well. Hopefully we'll overcome this. But it is still out here. Protect yourself, because even if you're vaccinated,
Mhm.
that's not a game card to go take off your mask and not be vigilant. Be vigilant, be careful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I got my first vaccination and I thank God didn't had any reactions or anything. So, but again, everybody react differently, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So, thank you so much, Dr. Melissa. The key points that I gained, there's so many, but the one which really spoken to my heart is that functioning lifestyle, because many of the educators and people who are working with anybody who want to work, it's about labeling and changing that person. But you have given such an enlightenment to me myself as an educator, that things don't work unless it is functionable for that person, and that's such a key point beside many others. Thank you so much for doing what you do for all of us. Thank you for being part of our community and bringing that enlightenment to us. Any last messages that you want to give to us before we are way over our time?
No, we are fine. I am so thankful for all of you. Thank you so much for you watching at home. And remember, you know, your mind will take you places your heart never will, but let it lead the way. Let education be your guide, have faith as your tools, and always love, peace, and positivity. Thank you so much, and Donovan for having me.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Melissa, for giving us your time. Having said that, that concludes our program. And we see you again with another episode. And you have to come back again,
Absolutely.
Melissa. Again, thank you. Good night, everyone.